Now it works. So these were the steps planned in the project. We started with an evaluation of available e-learning or hybrid learning programs in Europe by a survey carried out together with support of the Rosewood partners. Then also very important input from partners came through an assessment of training needs at the kickoff meeting, and this served us to develop training concepts for 3 target groups that have been defined in the work plan. Then as a third step, I will show you a bit of the production of these e-learning materials, which resulted in 3 online courses, first in German, for these specific, also local target groups, and then translated to English. The fourth step was the local implementation of 3 full hybrid trainings, which I will show you later. And now currently we are working on the replication in other hubs or into other languages. So the survey resulted in 85 feedbacks from the Rosewood 4.0 regions. And here for us, maybe the most important take-home message, if you see this language cloud, is that the forestry sector really has these traditional roots, which is reflected in the distribution of the languages. There's no dominance of a kind of lingua franca. The local languages are really important, and probably even within the same language, like German in Austria, Germany, and Switzerland, the technical terminology might differ slightly. Then the distribution across the hubs of the availability of e-learning programs confirmed a bit the expectations of the kick-off meeting, so the self-assessment of our partners. Only Southwestern Europe and Southeastern Europe were a bit better than expected, which you can see in more detail here. So as expected, there's quite a lot available in Scandinavia, but also in Spain, as you can see, and followed by France and Finland. We also evaluated which target groups were addressed by these programs. So as you can see here, it's mostly private forest owners, but also, of course, a topic like forest inventory with all this geoinformation system applications is an issue for online learning, which shows up here. Yeah, then interesting for us also looking behind from now is that even if many e-learning formats were classified as a learning platform, we could see that this was mostly meant as something where you can download a PDF or a video. And there were not many, only 11 programs specified as a really interactive learning management system, which can be used by learners for self-training, including self-assessment or something like that. And as maybe to be expected, vocational trainings are mostly offered as hybrid courses. So starting to develop the training concepts, as I said, we assessed the training needs together with the project partners. And so every partner wanted to improve their own experience with online learning. And all hubs saw blended learning as the best e-learning format, and saw the biggest challenge in the motivation or also the technical infrastructure to support e-learning. Yeah, then within these defined target groups, we wanted a bit to learn what topics were seen as most important by the partners. And this was the economic and ecological resource efficiency within the logistic chains, application of measurement and control systems, and also data transmission in mechanized timber harvesting. Now we come to these three target groups that were defined. Quite some discussion was needed to really understand the target groups and their needs. Starting with the forestry service contractors, we saw that digitalization, even in countries where the technologies are widely available, is a challenge for this target group, and often available in their machines but not used. Focus was on data flow, decision support systems, and the motivation was drawn from the resource efficiency, so the need to improve resource efficiency by the forestry contractors. Then the next group were the private forest owners in need of reforestation after calamities, so who had to reforest these huge deforested areas in order to get climate stable forests under economic, social, and ecological aspects. And the third target group were women in forestry, or you could say new urban types of forest owners who had inherited a forest or something and needed some basic knowledge and skills to integrate their active forest management into their daily life. The trainings were developed by the partners in the Central Western Europe hub, so the Wood Cluster Styria, the FBZ, where I'm working, Forestry Education Center in North Rhine-Westphalia, the Centre National de la Propriété Forestière Nouvelle, Aquitaine in France, and the Bern University of Applied Sciences. So after understanding the target groups, the next issue was to understand these training formats and the best sequence. And here I don't want to go into much detail, but just tell you that even the word MOOC, what is a MOOC, was really a barrier when introducing this to the trainers and instructors that were to be involved in producing the trainings. So the sequence was to be let the participants first register to the MOOC to create a kind of knowledge basis. We also produced some small podcasts, which we included into this MOOC. And then after participants had these materials to prepare themselves, they were invited to webinars and on-site trainings to deepen knowledge or give detailed feedback. For the further content development, we try to create storylines here. Just the example of business case harvesting operations, starting from the offer preparation through all the steps from planning the operations, implementing the forwarding of the timber logs until the transport to the sawmill gate. And so this was the structure where we defined the process steps and the activities and collected teaching content and media to be used. Production was done with the professional support from ProLehre TUM. So these are experts in Munich from the Technical University of Munich on media didactics. And they helped us to produce these video lectures using green screen. Drone videos were included on field demonstrations of digital tools. And of course, we had to learn how to use an interactive learning management system. And I just want to say, you don't need to be an IT specialist. So this can be learned by someone who's very new to the topic. And maybe the management of the users and their rights is the most, unfamiliar and the biggest challenge when digging into this topic. So after we had created the online material in German, we carried out 3 full hybrid courses in Germany and Austria. And we decided on the sequence of formats for each target group. So starting with the private forest owners in need of reforestation, um, who had first their on-site training with a full day of training with stations and experts who were explaining measures and how to do it. So very, very practical. And after this training, we did the webinar to answer specific questions on their own problems in their forest. So that was seen as a very good combination and much appreciated even by elderly participants who needed some help in logging in into the platform. But the combination of both of the online learning and the on-site event was seen as very fruitful. And we continued with the forestry contractors. So as you can see in these photos, this is rather a boys' club, and including from simulation in the forestry education centers to a demonstration in the field of several digital tools, really explaining the increase in resource efficiency for every step in the mechanical timber harvest chain. And the third on-site training was just recently carried out in Austria, so there I cannot show you any photographs, but also there all participants registered into this MOOC and saw the good combination. The trainings, the English trainings, are now available on the Rosewood website. So under this link, you can see the page. And here we also created with the support of the professionals from TU Munich trailers to raise awareness to the topics of digitalization. So here we try to include different voices from Austria, from Germany, from France, and show a little bit what all the courses are about, and different digital tools and solutions used in the field. All materials that were created during these hybrid courses are now included on the platform, also the webinars. So as I said, 3 MOOCs for 3 different target groups. The first on digital support for efficient harvesting operations in 2 parts with 11 video lectures. Here you can see there's another trailer specifically for this topic. The webinar is available. These 11 video lectures with some kind of introduction text, and then some additional information to put local content into a European perspective, and also kind of short registry on available forestry apps and softwares. For the private forest owners, this came out to be rather a very big MOOC with 26 video lectures in 9 modules. And as you can see here, a big team was needed from the Forestry Education Center and the CNPF. And maybe I don't go deeper into these topics. You can have a look for yourself over the website, which allows self-registration of users. Yeah, here again, there's a specific trailer for this topic, a webinar, and all these modules with their video lectures put into a structure on the platform. And the third MOOC, produced in Austria by the Wood Cluster Styria, contains video lectures that have quite a different style. So they really present the personal experience and personal perspective of a young female forest owner who even had a change of, let's say, her professional life due to inheriting a forest. So she's now a professional trainer at the Forestry Education Center in Pichel in Styria. And this is very, very appealing. So one of the parts is called a Sunday walk in the forest, where she shows how she can do the necessary work in the forest in her free time and integrate it into her daily life. But there are also presented marketing aspects, especially of hardwood, timber auctions, how you have to maintain your forest, how you have to do the tending of the trees to really improve the value-adding timber characteristics and how to produce quality hardwood. Now, for the replication in other regional contexts, we saw that a replication needs to deal with several issues. As I said before, the local traditional roots of the forestry sector mean you really need a regional language, probably in many of the project regions. So you have to translate from English now to, well, we are discussing currently with the Southeastern and Central Eastern hub in Slovenian, Greek, Croatian, Ukrainian, and so on. Maybe also sometimes the content may be too regional. For instance, the bark beetle calamity is a big problem in North Rhine-Westphalia, but not so much in other regions. Yeah, and also regionally available digital solutions and tools. So those tools that we used here to produce the content are maybe not available everywhere, but maybe can be seen as a best practice within these training materials. So our solution in the project was to focus on the replication of the online material, these MOOCs and webinars, rather than the on-site trainings. Yeah, and besides the duplication and translation of these full online courses into regional languages, we could maybe also adapt the content a little bit by a recombination of lectures that is quite flexible on the management system. Yeah, for the first feedback, I would like to conclude that online courses in combination with practical on-site events have really been appreciated by a very diverse audience, and at the end, even by the trainers themselves. So I have to say, Corona really helped to motivate, and now after they see the results, they say, okay, now we see what this is about, and they would probably be more willing to do more or to produce more content now. And there, I want to really stress that the technical production level can start low and grow. These trailers, of course, have been made very professional. For that, you need a professional video maker. But you can also do small video and audio productions with your smartphone. So just explaining a small content around a machine or a planting procedure or something, that doesn't have to be always done by a professional. It can be done by team members themselves. Interactive learning management systems are, of course, quite expensive. They can be shared. This is something we learned and that we are following up now in Austria with several forestry education centers who are thinking about this idea. And something maybe one doesn't know if one is not familiar, and learning management system needs a caretaker, but not a programmer, not an IT specialist. And one shouldn't be too afraid of technical terms. Yeah, as e-learning is surely getting more and more important in forestry education, I hope that we can share not only these contents, but also the experience. That would be all from my side.